Hey, good afternoon. My name is Nathaniel Cook, and today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over platoon planning and ambush operations. The whole point of this is to teach people how to properly do planning in coordination with an ambush. That's some of the big fundamentals that the Army does, really important, and it's the planning aspect is one of the most important pieces. Here, the task here is to properly teach cadets planning techniques and considerations to conduct an ambush. Now, some of the learning objectives that we've got for today are the principles of patrolling, which are planning, reconnaissance, security, common sense, and control. Very important. Like I said earlier, the planning portion is one of the biggest considerations. Reconnaissance is huge, and that really plays a real pivotal role into actually the planning portion. And then the security, when you're out on your patrol and you're out on your ambush, security is one of the most important things. You never give up security. It's how people get killed. And then obviously common sense, that's common sense, and then control of your elements. You lose control of your elements, you lose control of your soldiers, you lose control of the mission. And then everything else will go down the drain. The second thing we're going to be learning about today are the considerations during planning. One of the biggest things that we use, the only thing that the Army uses, is an op order. An op order is considered the most important document that you're going to produce prior to you going out on your mission. And on your op order, there are 5 main paragraphs. Within those paragraphs, it's broken down into sub-paragraphs and then sub-paragraphs. My 5 main paragraphs is situation, mission, execution, sustainment, and command and control. And the situation usually comes down from your higher op order, your higher headquarters, and it tells you what is going on, what you're doing. The mission also states kind of other things you're going to be working with during this and who all is going to be on there. But the most important paragraph of your op order is your execution paragraph. It's the 3rd paragraph, and that goes over in detail from start to finish on everything you're going to be doing. Sustainment goes over what kind of equipment you have, what kind of things you're going to be bringing on the mission, so on and so forth. And then command and control and signal, it tells you what types of communications you'll be using on your mission, where your chain of command is going to be located at. Some of the considerations when you're doing your planning, make sure you have the proper intel. You're going to use OCOCO, which is observation and fields of fire, avenues of approach, key terrain, observation and cover and concealment. Okay. The available equipment you're going to be using, capabilities of the enemy as well as friendly, what you're capable of completing as well as what they're capable of completing. Example, if they have the capabilities of being able to reinforce their locations within a certain amount of time, that's kind of the intel you want to know. That's going to let you know how long you can be on target, what types of things you're going to be doing there, and if you're expected to receive contact from the start of the mission until you get there. And then, like I said, reinforcements, super important. The scheme of maneuver, as I said earlier, that is the most important. That is how you're going to be executing your mission. And that is in the mission paragraph. Most important, by far. It's going to tell you how the movement is made, how you cross LDAs, which are linear danger areas, en route rally points, all your checkpoints, actions if you receive contact, your objective rally points and your release points on the ambush line, the ambush locations, and then actions on the objective. And you'll also go more into detail about your special teams, dividing up your ambush lines, divvying out information, sensitive site exploitation, and so forth. It'll be the most in-depth. even down to how you take your right hand and you cup it around your ear to stop, look, listen, situations like that. All right, when you pitch your op order, after you've gone through the whole planning phase, when you pitch your op order, you want it to be the most in-depth thing you have ever discussed. Typically, the mission paragraph of the op order is a few pages long. The more questions you have once you're complete with your mission paragraph, that means that you didn't do the proper amount of planning. That means that you failed somewhere to incorporate a piece of that mission, and your soldiers, when you're pitching it, have no idea what you're talking about. So after you get done pitching the op order, you're going to start the steps for actually executing the mission. Executing the mission, you'll conduct things like rock drills, accountability, PCIs and PCCs, which is pre-combat inspections, pre-combat checks. You'll discuss your movement. You'll discuss how you'll cross linear danger areas. You'll discuss what to do at short-term halts, what to do at long-term halts. Your leader's recon, the GOTWA. The GOTWA, that's what happens, is where you're going, who you're taking, how long you're going to be there, what to do with receive action, so on and so forth. Where you're, and as I said earlier, where your release points, where your security teams are at, where your ambush lines are at, black and gold, which separates up the objective, as well as your special teams and your withdrawal plans. One thing about when planning considerations, your Ranger Handbook, it's one of the most important things you'll have. There's absolutely no way any single one person will remember everything in this handbook. So when you're doing these things, this is a really good guideline to help you stay on track. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to transition into, and I'm going to actually, from start to finish, show you how a leader's recon is completed, as well as the division up of an ambush line, actions on the objective, and how to complete an ambush. All right. So after you've done all your planning considerations, you are going to prep for movement. You're going to do a rock drill. You're going to do your PCIs and your PCCs. And you're going to take accountability of your personnel. At all times during this movement, you are going to ensure that you keep 100% accountability of all personnel and equipment and weapons. And you also keep contact with higher, as well as make sure you follow your route plan. All personnel have been briefed on it, and they know what they're doing at 100% of the time. So at this point, we've planned, we've done our rock drill, our PCIs, our PCCs, accountability, and we're prepping a movement. We make our movement across to our objective, and we get to where we want to be. And what those things are called, we do, when we get to the specific point where we want to go, we're going to do an ORP. And there are two different types of ORPs, which are objective rally points. The objective rally point, there's the normal one that is in the shape of a diamond, is the same as a patrol base, and there's also the cigar-shaped. The cigar-shaped is hasty, and it's something that you can do without having to do a full leader's recon. However, for this particular situation, we're going to do the full thing, because that will help also people learn how to do a patrol base. Somewhat similar, but there are some differences between the two. So at this point, we've come to our location where we want to set up our patrol base. We have gotten into a long haul, and we get our leader's recon going. The platoon leader is going to take the weapons squad leader, an alpha team leader, a grenadier, a rifleman, and an assault gunner. And the reason we do this is because we're going to take the weapons squad leader, because he's going to know how to place these guns in. And also, we're going to take a team leader so they know where to place their personnel once we get to the ORP. So our personnel are at a security halt, and we give our platoon sergeant a GOTWA, which is we tell him where we're going, how long we're going to be there, how long we're going to be gone, what we're going to be doing, actions to take if they receive contact, and the amount of time that we're going to be there and what to do if we don't return. That's basically a GOTWA. So we get there and we realize that we're here, and we want our personnel, we want our ORP to be over here. So we come here, and all personnel get online. And they do what they call as SEALs, SLLS, which means stop, look, listen, and smell. That lets you know if there's any enemy in the area, if you've been compromised. It kind of lets you, the smell is so you can see people, you can hear things in the woods, so on and so forth. All right, and then we're going to clear the area. We're going to move down about 50 meters, and we're going to clear the area. And once we get there, the platoon leader and the weapons squad leader, which are on each side, are going to swap sides. And that's so they know where all the personnel are going to be, where the apexes of the ORP are going to be also. Once they've cleared that, they're going to move back up this way. They're going to clear it again. So now the platoon leader and the weapons squad leader have seen both sides of this ORP. They're going to leave a security team right here at the apex, the 6 o'clock apex, as you were actually down here, the 6 o'clock apex, in order to place the ORP. They're going to go back and get their platoon, and they're going to dogleg into the ORP. There's going to be an order of movement that's going to be also briefed during the op order. In most situations, it goes 1st, 2nd, 3rd squad with weapons squad in trail lead, which means the weapons squad is going to have a gun trailing 1st squad, a gun trailing 2nd squad, and then a gun leading 3rd squad. Reason being, when they come here and ORPs are shaped in a diamond, 1st squad is going to come in at the 6, and they are going to go from the 6 to the 10 to the 2, and they're going to occupy this portion of the leg, the front portion of the leg. 2nd squad, and a gun will be placed in right here. 2nd squad will come in from the 6 to the 10 and occupy the 2nd leg, while 3rd squad goes straight in and occupies the 3rd leg of the ORP. The guns are going to be placed in at each apex, providing for complete fields of fire on this apex, which means they continue to have 360 security at all times. Once that is done, the platoon leader and the platoon sergeant and the radio operator and all key personnel are going to be stationed in the center. The platoon leader is going to give them an additional GOTWA, which means they're going to tell them where they're going, how long they're going to be gone, who they're taking, actions to take if they receive contact, and what to do if they don't return. But this time, they're going to be bringing just the same amount of people, the weapons squad leader, the alpha team leader, a security team, a grenadier, and the platoon leader, and they're going to go recon the objective. This is what we call a leader's recon. So he's going to give the platoon sergeant a GOTWA, and they are going to go out, and they are going to recon the objective. So if we realize that our ambush line is down here, obviously this is very linear, but this is for training purposes only. And we have a road. So here's our, make this north-seeking arrow to be north. A road traveling from west to east. That will be received in our intel from west to east, and this will be our ambush line right here. And this will be the tree line. So what we do is the platoon leader comes down and establishes a release point. When he establishes a release point, he'll leave a security team, 2 personnel, 1 facing north, 1 facing south. And the purpose of this is to ensure that they keep security of this particular area at all times, so if anything were to change once they leave or come back, the platoon will know. The other personnel will go and recon the objective, which means they're going to go find out where the bends in the roads are, where they can place their support by fire lines, where they can put their assault lines, where they're going to be putting their left and their right security. And that is really super important because that way it gives them the ability to be able to plan a little bit more right before they actually hit the objective. So from here, he'll go and the platoon leader and the weapons squad leader will go and they'll find the place that they want to put their support by fire line. In this situation, the support by fire line will be from here. And what that does is it allows maximum firepower on this objective once they get to the kill zone. The platoon leader will also figure out where he wants to put his left and right security. Normally it's going to be about 50 meters off of this way, but because we're running out of board here, we're going to mark them on here. These 2 locations, your security locations, are for early warning, as well as the termination of any kind of reinforcement forces that may be coming back to your objective, just in case the intel is bad. All right? And then they're also going to figure out their assault line. They've got their assault line figured out. He takes all his personnel back, and he goes back through the release point. And he gives his security team a GOTWA. He's going to tell them where he's going, how long he's going to be gone, who he's going to get, and then what actions to take if they receive contact. But these people, like I said earlier, these personnel here are super important because they're going to let the rest of the platoon who are still back over here know if anything on this objective changes while the platoon leader is back going to collect the rest of the platoon. They go back through, gives him his GOTWA, goes back up here, and he gives the challenge and password, which is also inside of your op order prior to the actual movement, and they're going to get the rest of their platoon. During the time that the platoon leader has been gone, the platoon sergeant has been coordinating rucksack plans, doing last-minute checks with weapons, with the security elements, and then he's been getting the men, weapons, and equipment ready for the actual ambush. They go back, give the password, they come in, platoon leader collects everybody, and they make their way back the way they came to the release point. The release point is pivotal. That right there is something that you will always filter through. You always go through the release point because it maintains accountability of your personnel. When you're gone, you're going to leave a security detail at your ORP. And this is super important also because if your entire personnel leave, they leave their rucksacks, and they go through the woods to hit this ambush line, if something were to happen and they can't find their equipment, they're going to be in a lot of trouble. So they leave a security element back here to, one, watch the leftover equipment as well as be able to mark the location of the ORP during the ambush raid. They go back through here. The alpha team leader or the first squad leader and the weapons squad leader are going to start in placing these people. So whoever is designated for a security element would have also gone on the leader's recon. They are going to place their left and right security elements while the weapons squad leader places in his guns. And then the platoon leader and the platoon sergeant and the medic and the RTO are all going to be here. The platoon sergeant and the medic will be here counting people into the objective, while the platoon leader and the RTO come here on the ambush line and start placing personnel. Once all personnel are placed in the ambush line, it'll be up to another squad leader to in place things like the mortars or a claymore mine. That's important too. So they may place a claymore here, and here. And then once everybody comes, they wait. Depending on how long it takes for the enemy to come is really depending on the terrain and whatever kind of intel they've received. They could sit there for hours. Once the enemy comes, it is on the platoon leader for initiation. He could explode the claymore. He could do it on his shot. So they come through, and each The platoon leader is back here with the squad leaders on each side of him. This platoon leader and this medic and this RTO this platoon leader will one initiate, and then he'll also control the flow of movement over the objective. Once they've come through, everybody will make sure they stay on their own line and they don't funnel in, and they will come through this objective. Once they've cleared the objective, they'll come to what they call an LOA, which is a limit of advance. They can no longer move any further past this objective, and they call LOA. Once they call LOA, the platoon leader will be calling for what they call a LACE report, which is liquid, ammo, casualty, and equipment. And that's important because that will let him know if they are out of water, that they're out of ammunition, if they have any casualties, and what equipment has been destroyed or lost. And it's because, like I said, the Army is huge about accountability. From there, the platoon leader will divide the objective up into black and gold, which has also been designated during your planning portion, and he'll give out priorities of work, which means if they have an aid and litter team, if they have an EPW search, which means they have prisoners of war they need to search or clear. Once they've done that, however, while they have been doing this, the RTO, the radio operator, has been calling out times because, as I said earlier, enemy may be able to reinforce the area within a certain amount of time, which means if reinforcements for the enemy can be there within 15 minutes, that means you have 8 minutes on target. So the radio operator has been calling out time hacks the entire time. So this is going very, very fast. He comes in, they've cleared, they've done all their stuff, we haven't received any casualties. He goes through his withdrawal plan. They normally do it on red, white, and blue. The red, white, and blue will be there he'll say red, and that will get the assaulters off, like the left side of assaulters. He'll call white, and then he'll get the right side of assaulters. He'll call blue, and your support by fire line, which laid down a whole bunch of hate the entire time and was able to shift and lift on the platoon leader's orders, will come through, and then the demo team will explode things, and your left and right security will go back through. We'll leave also. Keep in mind, this entire time during the withdrawal plan, people are funneling back through the release point where your RNS team is still at, and your platoon sergeant and your medic are there counting your people back through release point. Once everybody's through the release point, they'll make their way back up to the ORP, where the security detail has been the entire time, and they'll collect their equipment, and they'll make for exfil. From here, they typically either do a follow-on mission or do a patrol base, and they'll bed down for the night. But that's a completely different and very in-depth class. For now, like I said earlier, one of your biggest. I hope this class has been beneficial and thorough and a little bit informative. I hope you have a good afternoon.